number 40 might seem like a lot, but realistically, it's not. It's actually just 10 4 times up 5. 20 times or something, some more, some less. So anyway, 40 is it's relevant because officially now there is 40 chapters of Kagurabachi, and good lord, it's just dropped some absolute juice for us.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
This chapter, dead ass, just put Rakuzaichi arc above the Sojo Vs Chihiro arc for me personally, and I was on the fence about it for a little minute now. Every time I was reading the chapter, I was like, it's kind of tied for it, but now it's clear, it's over. This definitely set it in stone for me. This chapter opens up where we left off from the previous one, with Kiora looking very, very, very worse for wear and proceeding with the auction regardless of what happens to him. However, now he's decided to broadcast the power of the Shinuchi itself to the rest of the room, who are now looking in on his fight with Chihiro, and we see Chihiro slicing up the floor where Kiora is hiding and inflicting even more damage on him. And I've got to be honest, this dude's quite sturdy for an old dude he was just getting his shit rocked by an enchanted blade wielder like Chihiro. He's pretty sturdy, but we are treated to a flashback with both Chihiro and Shiba, where Shiba goes on to explain how the Kaminabi are hiding the previous wielder of the Shinuchi, which I'm happy about, because this kind of confirms for us, it's a theory that I've had now for a little minute based on his previous reactions and his showings within the story, that this guy is actually the previous wielder, and I'm kind of happy that that's been revealed to us now. But ultimately, Shiba believes that the Hishaku's plans involve creating a distraction to basically kill the swordmasters in order to gain full control over the enchanted swords, and we'll circle back around to that in a minute because I got a little bit of a crazy crackpot theory cooking for y'all here. But Shiba also explains how the seal holding the Shinuchi in its box took 3 of the Kaminabi to put it together, and you would need their bio authentication to undo it. And if you didn't have that, it would take the most skilled sorcerer at least 10 years to undo. But it's then revealed how Mr. John Hishaku here undone this shit within 3 years, which is insane. Something that is supposed to take 10 to undo, this man did it in 3. And this is the same dude who manhandled Chihiro with like little to no effort at all just a short while ago here. And it makes me extremely scared for what this man is actually capable of. But we'll circle back around to him a little bit later, because again, he ties into my crackpot theory. Anyways, John Hishaku here reveals his plan to basically undo the seal and let Kiora finish off the unboxing here, and then he can analyze if there is any risks involved in using this sword. And I also want to point out how he is sat next to 4 folk here, one being the OG Hishaku dude who we see way back when in chapter 1, we'll call him Top Hat Hishaku, and then 2 more folks in white either side of him. But either way, we are shown Kiora standing face to face now with Chihiro, with his eyes turned completely black, as we are showing the former Shinuchi wielder, as well as an incredibly detailed and beautiful piece of artwork of the blade itself. Like seriously, Hokuzo's artwork is sublime. It is genuinely unreal. I think currently, right now, his fights and his art, coupled with the angles and the action that he's able to capture within these panels, might be some of the best within Shonen currently, in my opinion. Like, he captures such unique artwork and such angles with his fights. It's something that you don't actually get to see often. But we are finally given a name for the Shinuchi, which is called the Magasumi. Now, you might be a bit confused on that, but the Shinuchi is actually just a title for a bladesmith's best work. It's actually not a name. Its actual name is Magasumi, as we see the former wielder's eyes turning black alongside Kyora's as he tells the name. He says the name and the sword activates. And we are shown a single droplet of either blood or spiritual pressure dropping from the hilt as it splashes on the floor, causing flowers to bloom. Speaking of flowers, by the way, I've been reading a lot of Hell's Paradise. Super fun read, like 60 chapters deep. That was completely off topic, but it's been a really fun read right now. I'll probably give it about 7 out of 10, I imagine. Anyway, a butterfly starts to float throughout here, and you might look at this and think, damn, that looks awful familiar, and you would be right. It does. This shit looks like a sequence from Bleach, but on top of this particular panel right here looks like something that we have seen before. We see in chapter 8, Sojo encountered a sorcerer who used some sort of sorcery on him that brought back some trauma to him in order to fuck with him and try and escape from Sojo basically beheading him and leaving his head on a trash can. But the imagery we are shown is a young Sojo moving through a field of flowers. Well, presumably a young Sojo moving through a body of flowers here with bodies hanging above him and blood dripping. That is mighty similar to the Magasumi's power that we are just shown. And this is where the rabbit hole opens up and starts to deepen, because Sojo was fascinated with Chihiro's dad, believing him a man who had only created these swords to create slaughter, basically, which seems a lot more plausible based on what we're seeing with this fucking Magasumi blade, I can't lie, but that's a video for another day here. But we fast forward a little bit here to chapter 19, because Shiba tells us how Sojo wasn't actually connected to the auction or the Rakuzaichi in any way, shape, or form, and they couldn't find any information about the Hishaku in his storehouse. However, we know this to be false, because in chapter 7 we saw Sojo meeting with Mr. John Hishaku here on top Hishaku. But why? I believe Sojo was on a revenge mission. I believe that what this sorcerer made him see here was the result of the Magasumi and its wielder, and possibly him being connected to Sojo in some way, perhaps, maybe even a brother, twin, or even a father. Maybe you're gonna need some evidence though. We all know that the trauma sorcerer makes you see traumatic events. He did the exact same thing to Chihiro, who remembers his father's death, confirming this theory. When Sojo was shown this, we're shown a flower field just like the Magasumi creates alongside droplets of blood dropping just like the Magasumi. And to add into this, Sojo and the Magasumi's wielder share similarities when it comes to their appearance, both having long black hair and both having dark black markings underneath their eyes. But how does Sojo's goals align with the Hishaku here? You see, I believe his fascination with the swords comes from this encounter, comes from this trauma, and the Hishaku are looking to retrieve the swords and needed intel on them. Sojo just so happened to not only have intel on this, but also had the motivation to want to possibly kill the former Magasumi wielder, not only for revenge, but also to attain a sword here. So, in summary, I believe Sojo might have a brother, and that brother might actually just be this guy who we've been seeing throughout the series, who is apparently the previous wielder of the Magasumi. Well, technically the current wielder of the Magasumi. Anyways, moving on from that crackpot theory, we see Kiora sprouting butterfly wings with the activation of the Magasumi's power, stating how he can't just draw the sword, but just commanding the tip of its power is wonderful. Chihiro remotely activated his sword enten inside of the storeroom. We saw like a small goldfish that was formed here. This guy remotely activated the Magasumi, and my man Kiora turned into a fucking bleach villain. And I think this is Hokuzono's way of sort of telling us just how far apart Chihiro is from the swordmasters who have wielded the blades in the past and in the war, because remember, Chihiro's only been doing this for like a couple of years. Sure, he's strong as fuck, but he is nowhere near tapped into the raw power of what these swords can do. Because think about it, a person like Sojo, who had only wielded Cloud Gouger for 1 week, was able to basically match him, and Chihiro had to go above and beyond to even get close to defeating this dude. He was getting outmaneuvered and outsmarted at every given point in turn. But now we look at this guy who formerly used the Magasumi, and look at the kind of power that he's commanding. On top of this, the Magasumi is supposed to be the peak and pinnacle of these swords here. This is supposed to be like the final big bad, I imagine, here, which we're probably getting a glimpse of it quite early. But Chihiro is attacked by Kiora here, and he realizes that even with the sheath still on the blade, it can still cut. He hears a metal clang, and the chapter finally closes out with Hiyuki, none other than big bad motherfucking Hiyuki, arriving to the scene ready to fucking throw hands. And I'm guessing in chapter 41, we are gonna see a good old-fashioned 2v1 here, and I'm not sure these guys can win. I'm just gonna be real with you, I'm not sure these guys can win. But honestly, Kagurabachi recently has been absolutely on fire. A truly, truly great series that has been holding my attention for a long time now and just keeps surpassing its limits more and more and more, and I am genuinely excited for its success and its growth. And it also just so happens that this chapter that come out this week, it was number 1 in the table of contents for the Shonen Jump magazine, which means when you open up the magazine, this is going to be one of the first series that you see, which means Shonen are now starting to pay attention and starting to push the series further for the Japanese fans, which is huge. I'm genuinely excited for it. So yeah, anyways, that's everything from me. If you've not already, please be sure to like and subscribe, as we're going to be doing more Kagurabachi content, and we read the chapter every Sunday on this channel from the official sources. But as always, that is everything from me. I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much fucking love, big fucking kisses,